Welcome back, YouTube. K-Road17 here with a brand new F1 2019 career mode. We are in Spain for our race. Let's get into it.
Qualifying's about to kick off any moment here at the circuit Barcelona Catalunya. No doubt that today will be full of action on the track. And as we count down to that green light, I have to say, Anthony Davidson, that this rain is not showing any signs whatsoever of abating. I imagine we'll be looking at some last-minute setup changes to better adapt these cars to the conditions. What do you think?
The trouble is, Crofty, they need to be thinking about the race tomorrow. You don't want to go jacking up the ride heights and piling on a few points of extra downforce that you're not going to want in the Grand Prix itself. The Parc Fermé regulations mean that you have to make that choice. The best thing the drivers can do is adapt with the tools they have available in the cockpit. Moving the brake bias forward will help stop the rear end slipping out under braking, and opening up the differential can really help tame the oversteer on corner exit. The drivers that can make best use of these techniques will have the best chance for success here today.
So right away we jump on board here. We are on currently Q1 with 2 minutes and 28 seconds to go. Trying to get ourselves into Q2. We had a horrible outing at Baku, Azerbaijan, as you guys saw in the last previous video. Not too well. Didn't fare too well. But here we are right behind Hamilton, so I was trying to catch a toe with Hamilton. Like I said in my first video, Spain is not one of my better tracks, but I'm learning it slowly. We'll see how I progress as the seasons go on, but here we are coming up to the start-finish line. Can we cross and get ourselves into Q2? We somehow set the fastest lap of Q1. So here are the times coming up. We actually go P13 at the end of Q1, so we do get ourselves into Q2. Hopping on board here with Q2. Not looking any much faster. Lock it up really heavy on the front left. So I'm trying to push the car, and the sun's out. It's definitely the temperatures in the tires are a lot hotter, so the car should feel a little more sticky. But however, it did not feel that way. Like I said, it might just be me and Spain. Me and Spain do not get along very well. But here we are.
2 minutes remaining in the session. We need a good lap here, or we're out of qualifying.
Jeff just reminded me we crossed the line, and it's going to be P15. So we get a little bit above our team, our askings from them, but here we are, P15. Our teammate, Kimi Räikkönen, actually goes P10. So good job for him.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Now I want to talk to you about Carlos Sainz. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly and Verstappen, Perez, Grosjean, Hülkenberg and Kimi Räikkönen, Ricciardo, Weber, Devon Butler and Norris, Rose, Russell, Alexander Albon and Lance Stroll, Magnussen. And Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
I will try not to, Jeff. Here we go with the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona. Not my best track, like I keep saying, but the one-stop strategy definitely looks keen. We do have a little bit of rain that's going to show up at the end of the race, so I'm not sure if that's going to play into it. But for some reason, as you can see, you can't overfuel the car for this race. So I was a little backfired by that because, I was making that, constant mistake of overfueling the car so much. But because the rain is coming, I decided to jump on board and up my front wing so I'd have a little bit more grip on the start. Not the start, but when the rain eventually does come. But here we are, gearing up for the Spanish Grand Prix, waiting for the 5 red lights. And then we are go, go, go. Lights out for the Spanish Grand Prix. And we get a pretty good start. And then we don't. The car starts to get really loose out of the start. But here we go. We're getting surrounded by Albon and Russell. Norris right ahead of us. Russell makes a dive right in next to Norris. Going up the hill, still side by side with Albon. Can we keep position? I actually downshift there just to get a little bit more traction. We're going to have a look with Russell here going up the hill next to Norris. Butler's right there as well. We go for a cheeky dive, lock it up, but we do get in front of both Albon and Russell and Norris. So that's a good move. I look for a move on the inside of Butler, but it's not going to take, as he has blocked me off. Not blocked me off, but
that's a good start. Keep it up.
He's made the car wide enough. So here we go, gearing up. We do have Weber in front of us. Raikkonen, our teammates, battling up ahead of us. Maybe holding a couple of these guys up, doing us a favor. But I doubt it. I know Kimi, first driver in the team currently. Here we go, make a big move on Weber and Butler. So our F2, I guess you'd say rival and teammate, we made a job well done. And you can already see the drizzles of rain coming, and it's not even lap 2 yet. So the weather might play into a bigger factor than what we thought. So around the last few corners of this track for lap 1 completed, and you can already see the AI or the other cars are just starting to scoot away. And I don't know if it was just how much fuel I had in the car, but here we jump on board with lap 3.
Race officials have enabled light rain. Will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Thanks for that update, Jeff. Butler makes a big dive on me, gets his position back for P12. We are currently P13, so we're going to chase down Butler to see if we can get back around him. But light rain until the end of the race. It's going to get interesting, I would say. You guys can see the end of the video, but here we are chasing Butler.
Yellow flag
up ahead. I wonder if that was somebody that crashed off or somebody went wide. But we're going to get a confirmation here as soon as we get up to the top of this hill. Still chasing Butler. Butler seems to have the speed. Max Verstappen is out of the race. And there his car is parked on the side left. Let's look back and see what happened.
Okay, clear.
So here Verstappen is following his teammate Gasly around the left-hand corner, going down, preparing to go up the hill. And I don't know if it was just engine failure or something went wrong, but I don't see any smoke. But this gets interesting. He kind of gets right in the way of one of the Haas cars and the Racing Point cars until he pulls off to the left to park the car. That's Max Verstappen out of this race. Jumping back on board, we have Butler still in front of us on P9. We are currently P10. A couple of the guys did pit, so we have gained position out of their fortune of pitting. We're eventually going to have to pit, I know that. But DRS around this next front straight. We're going to try to make a move on Butler. Can we make it stick?
A new strategy is available on the MFT. Copy that.
Making our new strategy pick, but we do get in front of Butler with DRS. We go really slow into that right-hander. We want to take care of the car because the track is starting to get a bit greasy with this rain. So I don't believe are far off of switching to inters. I'm just trying to make it last. These tires last as long as possible.
Gap to car in front is 3.5 seconds.
Jeff being Mr. Informative, but we are still continuing with this race. We have yellow flags right ahead.
Caution, caution.
So who could it be? You could see the track is getting pretty greasy, but we're going to pull up and find out who is out of this race. No, we already got it. Charles Leclerc is out of this race. And that is now the second DNF of this race so far. Before the rain even hits, let's take a look at what happened to Leclerc. On board with Leclerc, let's see what happens or what goes wrong with the Ferrari. He seems fine right now, and then all of a sudden, a big cloud of smoke erupts from the back of his car. He definitely has blown a turbo or has blown his engine. Almost picks up a Red Bull. There is carbon fiber flying too. So he's tapped Gasly for his troubles. Now Gasly's going to have to pit for a new wing, but that's Charles Leclerc out of the Spanish Grand Prix. Back on board, lap 11, you can tell these tires are shot and this track is starting to get really greasy.
Just taken the lead.
So Hamilton has just taken the lead. We are entering our pits. I believe that Weber follows us right in. And here I brake early again. I can't figure it out. Eventually, ladies and gentlemen, I'll figure out how to enter the pits correctly and not lose so much time. But we are making our way down to the pits and hoping that our team gets a good stop so we can get out in front of Weber. Kimi's actually followed us into the pits, so we've beat our teammate into the pits. On our way out now.
We'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in our strategy.
We have Butler that just passed us, so he has actually undercutted us. We do go on to the inters, so it's going to be a stretch. Let's see if we can get to the end of this race on a pair of inters.
Heavy rain in around 15 minutes time. 15 minutes.
And that is very interesting. Will we see a full set of wets on this car before the end of this race? Knowing this game, this is pre-patched. The AI were actually very terrible in the rain, so I was hoping I could catch up to them. But as you can see, Butler just scoots off, and I had no pace to keep up with him. But as you can see, Weber and Norris or Sands are right behind me. So I've gotten myself locked into a battle for P7 with these two cars. And just like that, I lost all of my data that was saved, the videos that were saved of my onboard to finish this race. We stayed on inters, but I was able to keep and save the playback. So that's what I'm showing you guys here, the last few laps. And as you can tell, there's an absolute train behind me. I was just doing my best to hold on as much as I could. I had the Haas behind me, McLaren's behind me, Racing Point's behind me, Renault's behind me, pretty much everybody's behind me. But as you guys can see, we crossed the line, and where do we finish? We are going to find out. We actually finished the race in P8, so we picked up some points. It's not that bad. Our teammate didn't fare as well. He finished P16. Lewis Hamilton picks up the victory of the Spanish Grand Prix, followed by Vettel and Bottas. As you can see, we are still 11th in the championship. We didn't make up too much ground, but we do have Perez and Ricciardo not too far off in our sights. Kimi with no points yet, doing Alpha a fantastic job. Alpha moves up ahead of Toro Rosso and McLaren and Williams, so we are now 7th in the championship. So that's a good showing for Alpha. I'm just pushing this team as much as I can. I'm going to stick with this team. Everybody who knows me, I absolutely love Alfa Romeo. But we are going to jump into the post-race interview.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Devon did much better in today's race than he did in qualifying. Were you expecting that?
Of course, you can never count him out.
That was a pretty close finish with your old F2 rival. You two are pretty competitive, aren't you?
I'd love to say yes, but with the rate of this car that's coming along, he won't be able to compete with us much longer.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Not at all. There were problems. I struggled. I had the power advantage, but I certainly went with, not really. I have more or much more grip than the other drivers, which was an absolute lie. But I'm trying to help my aero department get boosted, so we went with that.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it?
I had no expectations for myself coming into this, so I have to give it all to Alfa Romeo giving me a good car so far, and that's what I went with.
Appreciate your time.
That will do it for the Spanish Grand Prix, guys. If you like this video, hit subscribe. Thank you. It means so much to me. and I will see you on the next episode. But until then, I'm going to leave you with the highlights of the race.